All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
Oh, yeah, we're back talking some fights as usual. My man, Big Marley, and I breaking it all down. And it's a little special week because last week, a little sleeveless man over there himself took down the main GPP. He split it with a couple friends, but a nice 5-figure win for our man, Big Marley. And shout out to our guy, Sheets. Called it in the Discord before it even happened, hours before. Sheets goes, I think this is Marley's slate that he's going to ship. And sure enough, he did it. And I will say, I'll ask you, Marley, I don't recall ever seeing a 10 in the winner. Have you seen that before?
Yeah, man, not off the top of my memory. I haven't. Not only did I have a 10, but I had Grasso, who didn't even win also. Thank you, Mike Bell. But yeah, I remember making that lineup because I went to the solver and I made my player pool as small as I possibly could. I wanted to get my favorite lineups with my favorite plays in there, which was going to be, who are they? Rosas, Lupita, and Campbell, and Shevchenko. So I wanted them as much as I could of them, and then I had it mix in the other dogs. And I took my favorite 8 lineups from the solver, and then I was like, how can I make a lineup with Campbell, Lupita, and Rosas in them? So I threw them all in there. I put the one dog I picked to win on the whole card, Kyle Nelson, in there. I was like, well, Shevchenko can't even fit, so let's go down and put Grasso in there. And that left me with Man in there, and it just happened to work out. But, yeah, I was heavy on Shevchenko. That was my one Grasso lineup, and it happened to hit.
Yeah, Mike Bell, the judges strike again. But, hey, I was happy to see it for you for sure. It's been a great ride over here in the MMA streets. Yesterday in the NFL streets, tons of screenshots. Hoop had a big one. Sheets is in here as well. Yeah, but, man, it's been an awesome time over here at Shipping Nation. Saturday, tomorrow, 11 fights. We're in the Apex, unfortunately, but it's a fun card because a lot of closely lined fights, a lot of striker versus grapplers. We get the small cage, so I don't hate it in the Apex. I'm expecting some big scores, even though I think it's like 5 of 11 fights are favored to go the distance. 6 are expected to finish, but I think we see some pretty big scores. Saturday, tail it right into free money Sunday. No better time of the year. And yeah, as my man Siggy said, last card before a nice break. I think the UFC's off for like a month or 3 weeks or something like that. So last time, get some money in your pocket in the UFC, and then we'll be back talking in a month or so. But we'll dive into it. As always, we appreciate that like button, appreciate that subscribe button. Appreciate everybody hanging out live, watching on playback. Carmi in here, Ross K, Sheets, Big Driggs, Eric Garcia. What is going on, everybody? If you do want to join us at shippingnation.com, we have multiple options for you. We have a weekly pass, a 5-day pass, I should say. So sign up right now. You get MMA content. You get all NFL content, showdown content on Monday. MLB still going on. $19. You get everything except the Discord. Monthly, $69 a month. 6 months comes out to $59 a month. And then if you want the annual package, comes out to $49 a month. And all of those do include Discord, except that 5-day pass. So head over, check it out. We think you'll like it a lot. What a great community we have in Discord. It's been a hell of a ride over here, so I'm excited to keep it rolling. We'll talk some fights, though. 11 fights to talk about. Main event's an absolute banger. I am so excited. 2 of the better pound-for-pound guys in the world, no doubt about that, in the best division out there. A couple other fun fights in there, too, but a couple low-level ones, and that's usually where we start off. First fight of the night, bottom 2 top. Tamiris Vidal, Montserrat Rendon. Vidal coming in 9K, Rendon 7,200. Looking at the odds, Vidal, a big favorite, solid favorite, minus 260, plus 220 on the way back for Rendon. This fight's plus 170 to finish, but all of the finish equity pretty much is on the Vidal side. Plus 195 for her. Rendon is plus 800. Vidal making her second walk to the UFC octagon, coming off a first-round KO over Ramon Pascual. And Rendon making her UFC debut at 34 years old. A pretty interesting one here. What do you see in this one, Marley?
Yeah, not my favorite curtain jerker for DraftKings. Just 9K on Vidal is too much for me to want to pay. She did score 109.5 in her last win when she got the early knockout, but man, you need her to get an early knockout because she's not really a wrestler. She's not going to be high volume over the course of 3 rounds, and I don't think she's very good. But I don't think Rendon is very good either. She's just pretty slow, pretty sloppy. So I think Vidal is going to be the more explosive striker of the two, the one landing the harder shots throughout the course of 3 rounds. But I'm just hoping she goes out there and wins 30-27 and scores 75 points. So I'm looking to get away from this fight. I guess I'd rather save the money and go down to Rendon because I think she'll be lower owned as well. But ideally, I don't get any lineups. If I'm doing 20 or less, I just don't think it's going to be a player pool. And hopefully it goes all 3 rounds, and I don't think I'll even care who wins because I don't think it's scoring well.
Yeah, fair enough. We have a little different take. Like, I'm going to get some Vidal. It's gross for sure. Like, it feels like an overspend at 9K, but when you dig into it, like plus 195 inside the distance props good. If you're people out there hand building, making 5 lineups or so, clicking that button at 9K, there's so many other people you'd rather click in the range. I agree with you. Rendon probably is still lower owned, one of the lowest owned on the card, but we're talking upside and ceiling, which 11 fights, like 11 fight cards, sometimes it's like, give me any win as an underdog. This card, I think we see multiple underdogs come through, pretty closely lined fights. And I think we do see some pretty big scores. So I'm kind of hunting for a ceiling. Plus 195 inside the distance solid. I just don't know if this Rendon chick is any good. Like 34 years old, making her debut. I wasn't impressed with anything. Vidal knocked out Pasquale. I mean, Pasquale's not very good, but at least she showed toughness and durability. Like Jocelyn Edwards couldn't finish her, stuff like that. Vidal, like 25 years old. I think she's better wherever. Like on the feet, I give her the advantage. So some power, I guess. And I think she's better on the mat. I think she can grapple a bit. I just think she's better wherever it goes. Good inside the distance prop. She's going to be overlooked in this top range. I think she has way more of a ceiling for 100 plus than Rendon. So I prefer that side. It's gross clicking that name, but I will. My plan right now is to be overweight on Vidal right here. Minus 260, plus 195 inside the distance, overlooked in that range. Sign me up for Vidal. Sounds pretty gross. It's a gross fight to watch, but hey, that's why we have money on it. First fight of the night, last fight of the night. I'm locked in the exact same way. So that's Vidal and Rendon. Another pretty low-level fight coming up right here. Mizuki, Inoue, taking on Hannah Goldie. Inoue, 9,200. Goldie, 7K. Another big favorite. Minus 325 for Inoue, plus 275 for Goldie. This fight's plus 200 to finish, but just like that last fight, all of the win equity or the finish equity is on Inoue's side at plus 190. Goldie is plus 1,500 to finish. I keep saying like really big favorites, but I forget last week. Minus 600, minus 400, minus 500. So minus 325. You see him lose all the time. Kind of low-level women's MMA. Haven't seen Inoue in a long time. On the betting line, it's a dog or pass for me. But in the DFS, it's literally the exact same as the last fight for me. Carbon copy, Inoue, going to be overlooked in this range because, I mean, if you look at, I wouldn't say overlooked. She's definitely going to get some ownership, but like people are going to want to get up to Jacob Malkoun. I think there's others that people want to target fights that will finish. Inoue definitely going to get some ownership. I'll take that back. But I just think she has way more of a path to 100 plus in the finishing than Goldie. But on the betting perspective, we haven't seen Inoue in 3 years, got stomped by Lamo. Like, she's been dealing with injuries. I don't really know. Like, I'm not laying minus 300 plus. So DFS, I'm on Inoue side more. Betting, it's definitely a dog or pass for me. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, I don't think this fight is going to get much ownership at all either. So I'm more interested in this one rather than the one we just talked about. I think that Goldie, I mean, she's real sloppy and robotic with her striking, but she will throw out high volume and she's strong. So she can go out there and land a couple takedowns throughout the fight as well. I think if she wins and let's say Rendon wins as well, I just think Goldie's going to score more in that scenario.
I agree.
I think she's also more likely. I mean, if she wins, I think she's going to score over 10x. So I think she's in play for that reason. She's just not very good. And I think Mizuki's going to keep this fight standing and just kind of pick her apart. Maybe not even land as much volume, but probably the cleaner shots. And she could land a couple takedowns herself. And I think she could control the fight on the ground and really have her ceiling that way. But I think Mizuki just wins this fight and scores 75 points, doesn't make it. But she would be my ownership play over Vidal. I think she'll be lower owned than Vidal, and I think she is a better, more proven fighter. It's just we haven't seen her in 3 years. There's a lot of unknowns there. So I like her for that reason, but I also like Goldie for that reason too. So I'll get like 15% of both sides, maybe 20 to 5% on the Mizuki side. But overall, on paper, not a good fight to target. Probably goes the distance. Mizuki probably wins and doesn't score well.
Yeah, you're making – so I've still been debating like a couple of things. All of our content will be up today. Still got mine will be up. Like I got the cash show after this. It'll be up sometime in the afternoon. My goal is before MLB lock. But I wanted to like talk about a couple of these fights because like right now I had Goldie as a fade in 20 entry and below. There's only 11 fights. I always want to get at least 4 fades. But I agree. Like in a way, there's so many unknowns. Goldie can throw good volume. If no one's seen Hannah Goldie fight, she is a grown-ass man, like meaning she is as ripped as it all gets, shredded, very physically strong. Like she is a beast. So she has that advantage. Could she just take it to the clinch, take it to the fence, like grind out something like that? Any win at 7K, I'd sign up for. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but kind of my debate. Hannah Goldie, Miles Johns. If I'd have a fade underweight tag, because that's definitely what it's going to be. One's getting a fade tag, one's getting the underweight tag. Who would get the fade tag?
Well, we'll be talking about Johns later. He's going to be a fade for me.
Yeah,
so,
okay. I think that's I might be changing that a little bit too. I don't love Johns when we get there as well with the stylistic matchup and the upside. So yeah, maybe I'm going to get a little more Goldie than I thought. I still definitely prefer the Inoue side and the upside. But at 7K on 11 fight card, as we saw last week, a 10 was in the winner on 11 fight card. So if dogs don't come through, which I'm expecting them to, but Goldie can put up 70 in a win, 80 in a win, and still get there. So that's the second fight on the card. Definitely an interesting one. 2 low-level women's MMA, or 2 low-level fights to start off the card. Kind of make it 3 low-level fights to start off the card. Mohammed Usman, Jake Collier, 8,400 Usman, 7,800 Collier. Heavyweight fight, the only heavyweight fight on the card. Usman coming in about minus 140, Collier plus 120 on the way back. Slightly favored to finish, minus 130 this fight is. Collier and Usman, both plus 220 inside the distance. I mean, it's Collier all day for me in this one, man. I do not like Usman. Dude throws no volume. Yes, he did beat Junior Taffa. He beat Zach Paga. I mean, the Paga fight, he landed the big shot. Talk about grown-ass man. Usman is a grown-ass man for sure. If he lands, he can hurt you, but he has to land because he hardly throws. As far as the wrestling, like, that's how he beat Junior Taffa. Like 7 significant strikes that whole fight, 2 takedowns, but he had 12 minutes of control time. Still didn't even score 80 points. Jake Collier, he looks pretty good, man. I was listening to like dog or pass. Cody had a couple good points on this fight. And then the Bryce Mitchell fight, he really got me thinking about that one. But looked at it like his Instagram and all that. He looks to be shed 15 pounds, something like that. He looks to be in way better shape, which is what you love to see. I mean, he fought at middleweight, ballooned up, throws good volume, over 5 significant strikes per minute, fought the way better competition, way more UFC experience. I think this line should be flipped personally. Yes, can Usman get him down, lay and pray and all that? Sure. It's Collier all day, though. If it goes decision, volume for sure on his side. I think cardio's on his side. Give me Collier in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Collier should be the favorite in this fight. Usman is going to be the bigger, stronger guy of the two. He has more one-punch knockout power, and he's probably just heavier in top control if he can land takedowns. But, I mean, he had a knockdown against Pauga, only scored 85 points. At 84, I don't know. It's usually not going to cut it at 8,400. Maybe it does. But then in his last fight, he goes out there and wrestles Taffa for 12 minutes, and he still only scores 79 DraftKings points. And that's wrestling a fish out of water. And that's not Collier. Collier has some grappling skills. Collier could even land takedowns of his own. But Jake's going to be the better striker in this one, the higher volume striker. The only issue is he doesn't have any cardio. He might just gas himself out and then give up the takedowns and blow the fight that way. So I don't trust Jake Collier, but skill for skill, he's the better fighter here. Has way more ways to win this fight. And he has a higher ceiling as well. So, yeah, I'm going to be overweight on Jake Collier. I'm going to be underweight to Usman. But this is a fight that I am interested in both sides. I'll get a little bit of Usman exposure as well. But, man, I think that Collier should be favored in this one. It doesn't really make much sense other than recency bias with Usman being 2-0 and Collier dropping his last 2 or 3. So I think that's the only reason we're getting him at a discount, but I'll take that discount.
Yeah, no, 100% with you. I mean, the call it, what I was going to say, this kind of it's very rare that I see like a dog that I actually believe should be the favorite. The last time I could think of was like Yanez. Like I'm not high on Usman at all. Like Junior Tafa. I mean, he came from a kickboxing background. You get a takedown, the dude is a fish out of water. He didn't know how to get up. So yeah, I mean, it's Collier all day for me. And the cardio, he at least has gone 15 minutes multiple times. Last time against Budai, Arlovsky fight, like he's lost 3 in a row. I thought he clearly won the Arlovsky fight. Judges being judges. Chris Barnett, he was dominating him, and then he did gas himself out, punch himself out. He went to decision against Felipe, John Vellante. So he has gone 15, and if he cut off 15, 20, if he's actually been grinding, diet, and all that, I expect cardio to be even better. Volume clear as day. It's clear as day, Collier, for me in this one. What's going on, Justin? Hope you are having a great day as well. I'm the great in here as well. Carmi likes fight goes the distance. Yeah, I lean that as well. Either Collier late finish or fight goes the distance is my lean as well. So that's the only heavyweight fight on the card. At least we got rid of the 3 lowest level fights on the card to start it off. So this fight, the biggest favorites on the card, Jacob Malkoun, Cody Brundage, 9,500 Malkoun, 6,700 for Brundage. 650 to about minus 550 to minus 650, depending on what book you look for Malkoun. About plus 450 on the way back for Brundage. Minus 130 of this fight to finish. Plus 115 for Malkoun. Plus 475 Brundage inside the distance. It's Jacob Malkoun all day for me, man. Brundage taking this fight on short notice again. He took his last fight on short notice against Dumas and looked absolutely awful. I'm expecting Brundage to probably pull guillotine. If he gets it, great. If he doesn't, he's going to probably be stuck on the mat for long periods of time. Malkoun's a beast. Takedown. Trades with Whitaker. Just a great wrestler. Doesn't do much when he's on top, but I'm expecting 6, 7, something like that takedowns. Brundage has a wrestling background as well, but as we talk about levels, and Malkoun's wrestling, man, is on another level, I think. On the feet, yeah, Brundage got power. Probably favor him there, but I expect it mainly to play out on the mat. I think dogs come through, so we have the money. I want to get a good amount of Malkoun. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Malkoun's going to be my favorite play on the slate just because I don't love the pay-ups on the slate. It's him and then 3 WMMA fighters in the 9K range. He's definitely my favorite one because he likes to wrestle, and he likes to wrestle for all 3 rounds. His 3 UFC wins so far, he averages 125 DraftKings points. So there's not a lot to not like about him because you know he's going to want to go out there and wrestle. That's it. If he goes out there and strikes, he's in danger of losing, and Brundage could knock him out early. But that's what puts Brundage in play. He could get the first round knockout. I do think he's going to be the better striker in the first round, but I expect him to tire out Malkoun to go hard wrestling for 3 rounds and score 100-plus points. So give me all the Malkoun I can get.
Absolutely. You think Brundage can get up from the ground? If it's against the fence, maybe he'll work his way back, maybe early.
I hope so. So we can get more takedowns.
Yeah. Exactly. I hope so, but it very well could just be 3 takedowns, 1 in each round, 14 minutes of control time, something along that. I mean, Malkoun just never finishes, but if there was any matchup to finish, like Brundage taking it on short notice, if he just is on top for as long as I think he is, maybe he can find a sub. He doesn't have any subs, but Brundage gives his back, something like that, some ground and pound. I don't know. I'm hoping for a late, like you'd hope for a late 3rd round finish with Malkoun. I don't think it's round 1 and the late 3rd round, the buzzer beater, you get the extra 15 from 3rd round to decision. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like him. That's a good question. I'm really not sure if Brundage can get up. We hope so, but it very well could just be 3 takedowns and plenty of control time. But by far the safest play, probably the highest, or not the highest, probably because the main event, but one of the highest owned fighters. Go ahead, Marley.
I think he will be the highest owned. But, I mean, let's say all those 9K fighters score their absolute ceiling. Malkoun's going to outscore him by 40 or 50 points still. They just, those guys, I mean, those girls, I should say, their ceiling is like 100 points, where Malkoun, I expect 100 points if he wins, you know?
Yeah, no, I think more I look at, I think he'll be the highest owned too, because Gamrot and Fiziev will eat into each other, whereas people are not going to like to click a lot of these. And there's enough value that people feel comfortable with. So I agree. Malkoun, highest owned, but I think rightfully so. Probably 55%, something along those range. So yeah, by far the biggest favorite, wrestler, everything you like on DraftKings. Now FanDuel, very few. We hardly talk about it here because you take first place, you get a couple lunches, but FanDuel, not nearly as good of a play. No top control, doesn't land significant strikes, not nearly as good over there. So Malkoun third round KO plus 400. Those odds aren't good enough for me. I was hoping to get something in the 10-1 range for a guy that hasn't finished. What is going on, Ben? Keep it rolling again. We appreciate that like button, appreciate that subscribe button. It's absolutely free, costs nothing, and helps us out a ton. Bringing you shows every single day. Got NFL Cash Show coming up after this, Hoop and I, MLB show later too. So much going on over here at Chippin' Nation. So much going on in the sports world. A lot of money to be made. If you want help in all of DFS, a great community in Discord, head over to chippingnation.com. We got weekly deals all the way up, or weekly packages all the way up to annual packages. So check that out. Get in the Discord. Let's keep it rolling, Big Marley. The most likely fight to finish on the card should be a banger. Andre Fialho, Tim Means, 8,900. Fialho, 7,300 for the Dirty Bird. We got plus or minus 157 on Bet Online to like minus 178 on FanDuel. So as we always say, make sure to price shop, especially in MMA. Tim Means about plus 140 on the way back. This fight's minus 260 to finish. Fialho minus 135 inside the distance. Dirty Bird plus 325. Take it away, Big Marley. What do you like?
Give me the underdog in this one. I think it's another one where the underdog should be the favorite. Fialho, he's the much more powerful striker of the two. He's 10 years younger, so he's got those things going for him, but Means is the more skilled striker. He's going to be the higher volume striker. He's the more experienced striker. He's the better wrestler. He's the better grappler. He's better everywhere this fight goes, especially the longer this fight goes. If he makes it out of the first round, I feel really good about him taking over. And Fialho also means the durability isn't looking great. So I see why Fialho's the favorite. Big time power, Means not looking durable, not in his prime, past his prime, towards retirement instead. But Fialho's just not that good, guys. And Fialho's been knocked out 5 times. Means hasn't been knocked out in 4 years. He's getting caught and then submitted by guys. I don't think Fialho's submitting him. So give me Means to avoid that first round knockout and take over. He's going to be one of my favorite underdogs to click on because he's only 7,300. If he wins, I think he's going to score more than 10x. He also has 100-point upside, but I think he could win by any method, whereas Fialho is more of an early knockout or bust, especially on DraftKings. If he doesn't get a first-round knockout, he's not scoring 90-plus points, unless he's getting multiple knockdowns, I guess. But, yeah, I'm going to be underweight to Fialho, overweight to Means. But this is a great fight to target. Has the highest fight, doesn't go to decision line on the card. So if you're on Fialho first-round knockout, go overweight, but I just think that's the only way he gets there.
Yeah, no, good breakdown for sure. So I agree. Like betting perspective, it's a clear dog or pass for me for sure. I think it's a very close fight. DFS wise though, ownership, game theory, all that, I think Means comes in as one of the highest owned dogs. You look at his win equity for the price at 7,300. It's one of the best there is. The most likely fight to finish, 1,600 does go a long way. I just think Dirty Bird is going to get jammed, and Fialho, he's definitely going to get played. But I think it'll be lower than what people think. For a minus 135 inside the distance prop, his ownership, I think he's going to come in under-owned for his chance at the optimal, especially because, Fialho, he's got bonked 5 out of 7 times. He got hurt against Cameron Van Camp, like one of the worst looks you can have. Tim Means' durability, though, he's getting up there, almost 40 years old. His durability is not nearly what it used to be as well. Fialho hits like an absolute truck. I think these two can stand in the middle in the first. I'm hoping they stand in the middle in the first round and someone goes down. I want it to be Fialho because I'm going to probably be more overweight on Fialho than I am Means. Again, that's usually how it goes. If there's the most popular underdog, generally I'm underweight on, or at least some of the most popular dogs. But the more I dove in and why I think it's a clear dog or pass when it comes to betting, I think Means is going to try and wrestle a little early. We've seen him wrestle in almost all of his fights recently, securing at least one takedown in those last 4 fights, averages over 1 per 15. Didn't wrestle much earlier in his career, but his durability is going a little bit. He's definitely the better boxer. He's way better striker. Like, you mix in elbow, his elbows are nasty, his uppercuts are nasty, he's tight, he's clean for sure. I'm picking the younger fighter, but it's mainly in Fialho, but it's mainly because I think DFS wise, Means probably comes in a little over-owned, Fialho under-owned, and I'm going to take that approach. But Yeah, I get it, man. It means if I'm betting it, it's clearly means. No way I'm laying chalk on Fialho.
What does Fialho do better than like Mike Perry? You know, is he more powerful than Mike Perry?
I was gonna say, I mean, close. I think the one shot power. If you put him at a punching bag at the bar and something, I think the numbers are pretty close. But outside of that, yeah, not much.
Yeah.
That was years.
And
back.
I would say that Perry's the better minute winner in that as well if he's fighting Fialho.
Yeah,
we've seen Means go 3 rounds with a heavy puncher before, and Fialho, I just do not like seeing minus 170 against anybody with Fialho, to be honest with you. But against a guy who's got like 50 fights, been in the UFC longer than anyone's known Fialho, I just think that the line is wrong in this one. And I think it'll keep moving towards Means as we get closer to the fight, which will play into ownership as well. So maybe you're talking me into a little bit more Fialho just for ownership reasons, more so as a hedge for me because I still do like Means. But maybe you could talk me into like more Collier than Means if he's going to be lower owned. So I could maybe just get away from Means with the ownership, but I do think this is going to be one of the better fights to target. And I love that 7,300 on a guy I think should be favored.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like if you love him that much and you think he should be the favorite, I don't think there's anything wrong with jamming him or getting 80%. And then you got to mix in some lower owned pieces and stuff like that. Whereas like, I know I'm going to be having a good amount in the main event and stuff like 11 fights. There's only so many ways you can get different. And I like Means for sure. I think I think this line is completely off, but I just think the minus, like not very often you see a minus 135 inside the distance favorite in the most likely fight. He might be like 32%, something like that. Means could be like 27, 28% if the line keeps going, maybe 30. It's more game theory. An 11 fight card, especially, you need game theory. So it's mainly that. But I agree, all the points you made on Tim Means, and I don't really think Fialho is all that good as well. But he does have huge power for sure. So great fight there. Very exciting one. Means, the Dirty Bird, and Fialho. We'll keep it rolling, though. Another good fight. 2 primary wrestlers, Dan Argueta, Miles Johns, 8,600 for Argueta, 7,600 for Johns. Argueta coming in about minus 175. Miles Johns plus 150 on the way back. This fight's plus 110 to finish. Argueta plus 190. Johns plus 400. Very interesting one. We kind of already tipped our hand, so I'll let you start, Marley. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, I think that this really comes down to how much grappling happens in this fight, because if this is a striking match, it'll be a slow-paced, boring striking match where either guy is going to have to get a knockout to score well. And they are both primarily wrestlers, so maybe it just cancels out and does turn into that striking match. And I don't like the knockout to come either way, but I would say that Johns is the slightly better striker, probably more likely to get the knockout. But if he doesn't get a knockout, he just does not score well. And I don't think he's the better wrestler in this one. I think Argueta is the better wrestler, the better grappler in this one. So he's the one with the upside, in my opinion. So I am targeting upside here. Also, I don't love the pay-up options on this slate, so that's forcing me onto more Argueta just because I have salary to spare. But he has to wrestle for him to get there. So I'm just relying on him to fight smart, to be able to land the takedowns against a guy who has like a 92% takedown defense. So it might be a bad play for me to go overweight on, but I do like the Argueta side of this one. And if Johns wins, I don't think the knockout's going to come. So it would probably just be a really slow-paced striking match where he scores like 50 points. And even as an underdog, I think that wouldn't cut it. I think he could get outscored by losers on this card if he wins. So I'll probably just X Johns out of my 20 or less player pool.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think I'm leaning I think Johns will get the fade thing and 20 entry below, and Goldie I'll go to underweight because I agree. Johns is the better striker. I think Argueta is the better wrestler. I agree with everything you pretty much said. I feel confident about that too. Johns great takedown defense, 92%, wrestled in college. Like both these dudes. I mean, if it gets on the mat, you're going to see some fun scrambles. You're going to see good high level wrestling. I think what Argueta did, the Damon Jackson fight, short notice, up a weight class, very impressive there. And then what he did to Ronnie Lawrence, Keith Peterson, no nonsense, my ass. But I mean, come on, dude. What he did to Ronnie Lawrence was dirty. That was very impressive. His transitions, this submission to that submission. I mean, he is nasty, man. I'm buying in on this Argueta kid for sure. The upside in DFS, it's on the Argueta side for sure because he's the better wrestler, we believe. if he has success, and we think John's a better striker, so we think Argueta is going to come out and try and wrestle for 15 minutes. It's probably going to be tough early. Like Johns has very good takedown defense. The longer it goes, I think Argueta can have some success. I take them as overweight. My plan is to be somewhere around the field though, and not have much Johns. Like I don't love this fight much because I respect John's takedown defense, his defensive wrestling, keep it at distance. And I can see this being a pretty boring fight, to be honest, if it does stay on the feet and John's takedown defense does hold up. So I'll be underweight for total ownership of this fight, but I definitely will have a lot more Argueta just because I think his path to 100 is, by a mile. If Johns doesn't get a first round knockout, unless we're completely wrong and he's just a way better wrestler, I don't see him even shooting for takedowns that much. So.
Yeah, he's only landed, like he is a decent wrestler, but he's only landed 2 takedowns in his UFC career. So it's hard to rely on him to be the smart wrestler, where I do feel good about Argueta landing takedowns because he shouldn't be as good of a striker. Whereas I worry more if he could go out there and just win 3 rounds on the feet, maybe he doesn't look for the takedowns as much. But this is your path to victory. Go out there and land the takedown. So if he fails his first 4, don't stop there. Keep going. 5, 6, 7, whatever it takes to get there. And that's how I think he wins.
Yeah, no, 100%. We're lockstep. I'll be hoping Johns doesn't get a first round knockout, and then I'll probably feel pretty good after that. But
True.
Yeah, fun fight there. Let's hope Argueta can get his wrestling going. If he can't, though, I'll be underweight total ownership to this fight, so it won't kill me. We'll keep it rolling. Next fight on the card again. Like button, subscribe button, helps us out a ton. We appreciate it. It's Big Marley looking for a second shipper in a row. Gonna have to start calling him Hebrew Cheetah Jr. if he can get another one back to back. But Charles Jourdain, Ricardo Ramos, 8,300. Jourdain, 7,900. Ramos. This fight is one of the closest line fights on the card, about -145. Jourdain, +125 for Ramos. This fight is -130 to finish. Jourdain +165. Ramos +300. I have to throw it to Big Marley because this, of all fights, this is another one that's been really tough for me too. But this one has given me so many problems, man. Really curious to hear what you got.
Yeah, I do think it's a good one to target because it's priced right there in the mid-range. We don't have to have 100+ from these guys. And I really don't like the winner's chances at 100+ very much either. I do give Jourdain the striking edge, whether that be danger, volume, really everything about his striking is better. And I also hate that Ramos does all this spinning shit in a lot of his fights. I'm not a big fan of spinning techniques. And it won his last fight. He got a knockout with it. I think his second spinning knockout in the UFC.
I was there. It was right in front of me. It was so nasty, man. So nasty.
It was not. And it was like perfect. He landed it perfect.
Yeah.
But he probably doesn't think that's an issue. He'll probably just throw all this spinning stuff. And I think that's a bad idea. In this matchup, I would rather him just go out there, look to wrestle. He's the better wrestler, the much better grappler. So his path to victory is on the ground. I think he can hang in the striking department, but more so long enough to win the fight on the ground. Whereas Jourdain has to keep this fight on the feet. I do give him the edge there, but I give Ramos a bigger edge on the ground. So I prefer the underdog in this one. I think he's live for a submission in the first or the second round. I would give Jourdain the cardio edge as well. So like if he doesn't get submitted early, maybe the submission's not going to be in play, but I think Ramos could still grind out 2 to 3 rounds on the ground. He landed 8 takedowns against Bill Algeo, scored like 98 in a decision. I think that's somewhat in play here, but he's going to have to get the fight to the ground, not only to win, but to score well. And then Jourdain could knock him out. I think Ramos has a suspect chin at times. He could get knocked out throwing a spinning elbow. So I think Jourdain's not only in play for the knockout, but even in a decision, Jourdain could score 85 to 90 points, and I think that could possibly be enough at 8,300. So I do like this fight, but I'm on the underdog.
I love it. Yeah, I like this fight too. I'm happy you said that because all week I've been leaning Ramos, but it's just like, man, like all I can't think of is his weight miss against Austin Lingo. He missed by like 11 pounds or something. Like what's he? I'm definitely going to be eyeing this one on the scales. Like if he looks like death, Jourdain has good cardio, very good kicks. Like he can mix body shots. Takes a lot of energy to wrestle and stuff. So this is one of the main fights I'll be looking at the weigh-in, seeing how Ramos looks. I want Ramos, like, I think it's closer to a coin flip fight, like -110 a piece if it's the normal Ramos. I do give Jourdain the striking advantage. Ramos isn't dead in the striking exchanges, though. I mean, he's still a solid striker. He can mix it up. He does have better if we're talking about on the mat, like he is the guy that's going to get takedowns, averages over 2 per 15 minutes. And you look at Jourdain, Nathaniel Wood took him down 5 times. Shane Burgos took him down twice, controlled him for over 6 minutes, like 50 or 48% takedown defense. Arosa got 2, Andre Ewell got 1, Banana got 1. Like everybody's taking this dude down. He's getting piece up on the feed. Ramos feels like a very easy shoot for takedowns, wrestle. Can you control him on the mat? I don't know. It's going to be a banger, man. It's a great fight, but I think it's a dog or pass too. But it's definitely one I'll be looking at the scales, because if he misses by 1 pound and he drained himself or something like that, that probably will be enough to go to the other side just because the cardio. Jourdain's tough. He'll be there for 15 minutes. And then I think I'd probably lean that way. Maybe a third round Jourdain finishing prop or something like that. But as of now, assuming he does make weight and he's good, I'm with you. I'm choosing the dog and Ramos to get it done. But I'll definitely have both. 8,300, 7,900. Just a great fight to target. In DFS, keep it rolling. A couple more fights on the card. I think that was the first one on the main card, which it should be. Absolute banger that'll be. Bryan Battle, AJ Fletcher, 8,700 for Battle, 7,500 for Fletcher. We got Battle coming in about minus 180, AJ Fletcher plus 155 on the way back. Fight finishes minus 150, Battle plus 160, Fletcher plus 250. Throw it to you in this one. What do you see?
Another good fight to target. I think if Fletcher wins this fight, it's got to come through the wrestling. And if he does win, I expect him to score over 10x here. I guess he's powerful too. Maybe he could land a knockout or something like that, but I don't expect him to be the minute winner on the feet. It's going to have to be multiple takedowns throughout the fight. Grind out 7 to 10 minutes on the ground, and that's how Fletcher wins, but that's going to score well. Whereas I do think Battle has that same thing in play. He could go out there and wrestle if he wants to, but he should have the striking edge. He should use his wrestling and defense, keep this fight standing. And in that case, at 8,700, he probably needs a knockout just because I don't see him being high volume enough to score well in a 3-round striking match. If he mixes in 2-3 takedowns throughout the course and wins a striking match, he can get there. But I think it could be back and forth where both guys are landing a couple takedowns, and then maybe it comes down to the striking that wins it for Battle, and he just doesn't score enough. So I think you can get away from it, assuming Battle wins the decision. But Battle's in play for the knockout. He can wrestle. So I just like targeting this fight, and I don't have a real preferred play. I'm just kind of looking at it as I'll throw both guys in a third of my lineups, and that'll have a third that I faded in as well. Just kind of play it safe where both sides are good options. How do you see it going down? Because I do think it could be a very important fight. And Fletcher's a solid underdog to choose from. It's just that I like so many underdogs on this card that I'm kind of prioritizing over him.
Yeah, like outside of the main event, this is my favorite fight to target when we're talking both sides of the fight total. So Battle's got a 10-inch reach advantage, a 3-inch height advantage. Like AJ Fletcher's, that's nothing new for him. He's a very small lightweight when you're talking height and stuff, but he is so ripped. Like he ain't making 155, 170 is gonna work. He has to fight there. Former football player, just a brick house, man. Dude's absolutely huge. However, when you're carrying around all that muscle, all the weight, you do want to mix in takedowns. He got 4 against Samuelsberger, which I think is his best path here. His cardio is a question, man. I don't think he can wrestle for 15 minutes. He slows down as it goes, so I don't think this fight goes all 15. I think either Fletcher, if it does, maybe Fletcher can just lay and pray. But, we saw Rinat Fakardinov doing against Battle, but Fakardinov is a different animal, dude. That dude's a problem. There's no doubt about that. So I'm kind of throwing that out for Battle. Comes out, starts as Gabe Green. Gabe Green, he just ran chin up, did not care what happened to him in front of Battle's hometown, and he got put to sleep. I think it's definitely Battle on the feet. Like Fletcher has power for sure. Everything he throws is hard, but Battle, it doesn't look like he's throwing hard, but man, when he touches them, you can tell he hits hard. That head kick against Sato, the Gabe Green, I think it's Battle on the feet. For sure, Battle's takedown defense bad, so I think Fletcher can have success early with takedowns for sure. I think Battle can work his way up, though. Battle does have good jiu-jitsu, 4 wins by sub. Fletcher's still new. I think he made his pro debut in 2018. Did Fletcher, so he's still, 2018. He's only 26 years old still, so I'm still expecting improvements from him. Great fight to target. I'll have a bunch of this fight for sure. I'm on the Battle side, though, just because I don't think I think Battle's better on the feet, and I don't think Fletcher can wrestle for 15 minutes. So at the end, and I don't think he's finishing him on the mat by any means. So at the end of the day, I think Battle eventually catches him when Fletcher gets tired. Maybe Battle's takedown defense is even much improved, and Fletcher can't even get him there, and he knocks him out in the first or second or something like that. So Battle's a pick for me, but I mean, $1,200 difference. Like, Fletcher's one of my favorite dogs at 7,500 on the card. So it's just a great fight to target, in my opinion. Keep it rolling. Couple fights left. Just the opposite from that one to this one, in my opinion. Marina Rodriguez, Michelle Waterson. We got Rodriguez 9,300, Waterson 6,900, minus 305, plus 255 on the way back for Waterson, plus 250 for this fight to finish. Rodriguez plus 300, Waterson plus 850. The rematch no one asked for, and that was a 5-round main event. Can you believe that? Waterson and Rodriguez, a 5-round main event. Pretty crazy to think. Rodriguez gets the unanimous decision, had success stuffing most takedowns, pieced her up on the feet a little bit, won a decision, didn't score well. Now you have 10 minutes less in this one. I mean, come on, man. I'm not expecting much different. She scored 85 in a 5-round decision win, landing 125 significant strikes. Take out 40 significant strikes, move that score down 10 points or something is how I'm seeing it. So, yeah, it's the lowest cumulative fight ownership on the card. If I'm playing 150, yeah, maybe you'll see me have very few of them just because you're playing chalk, 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 and they get you different here. But other than that, I can't really make a case for this fight.
Yeah, I'm going to probably just X both sides of this fight out. Rodriguez scored 85 in a 5-round decision. So if she scores 85 in a 3-round, she's still not going to make it. So I just don't see any reason to use her other than she's going to be unowned and maybe she can get an early knockout. But Waterson, I mean, she scored 50 points in that 5-round loss. If she looks to wrestle and then just loses during the striking, I could see her outscoring Miles Johns in a loss. You know, I don't think she gets to 50 again because she has 2 less rounds to work with. But I would just be dog or pass on this fight all around, but I much prefer the pass. I do think even with 150, I would think about Xing both of them out, to be honest.
No, I definitely am still thinking about that. It's just I wish it was like a 12-fight card or 13-fight card because you go 11. You go
I mean,
10.
like last week, like she'll probably score more than Man did in a loss.
More than
so
10.
Maybe just a loss puts her there because she's so cheap. Maybe that's a reason not to X out Waterson. But you really
need a different card, though.
Knockout for Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's still a different. Like there were so many big favorites last week, and we were like, man, it's tough to lose. Like this card, I mean, we can see Means winning, we can see Fletcher winning. Like you go down even earlier, like Inoue and stuff at minus 325. Like I wouldn't be shocked one bit if Hannah Goldie won. Like Vidal minus 260. Like I'm chasing more upside there. So I totally
messing around with the solver. I think it's a really tough hand building week this week just because there's so many live dogs. So I've been messing around with the solver, and I think I'm going to put my minimum salary cap like around 47,000, and then I'll put a max at like maybe 49.5 or something like that because I really just don't like the pay up options. I'd rather just gift different by leaving salary on the table. That way I could still target all the underdogs that I really like.
Yep, I agree. Very sharp. I haven't messed around yet what I'll do with min and max and all that, but it's definitely a card that I'm fine leaving 1K, 1,500. Like Fletcher could be the highest scoring guy in the slate. Tim Means could knock out Fialho in round 1. Like there are so many paths that way. So maybe Brundage can't get up, and then it's Malkoun just getting 3 takedowns, 10 minutes, and he scores 88 and isn't on there, whatever it may be. So yeah, so many. One of the best 11-fight cards I think we've seen when it comes to DFS. I always hate 11. That 12 number is so much better, but I can't complain. And you got it done last week, so you might need to teach me a little 11-fight short slate magic right here. But we got 2 fights left on the card. Yeah, like button helps us out a ton, and we appreciate it. If you want all Marley's content, my MMA content, MLB, NFL, everything you need to be successful, great community in the Discord, head over to shippingnation.com. Weekly memberships all the way up to annual memberships. Next 2 fights going to be solid, Ross says, and I absolutely agree. Bryce Mitchell, Dan Ige, 8,800 Mitchell, 7,400 Dan Ige, minus 200 for Mitchell, plus 170 for Ige, plus 170 inside the distance. This fight is Mitchell plus 350, Ige plus 350. So this was the other fight that was giving me the most problems. And I mentioned it earlier. Listen to Dogger Pass. Cody and Paul always do a great job there. And so I was like Bryce Mitchell first. When I looked at this fight, I'm like, give me Bryce Mitchell all day. Maybe some recency bias. Tapuri is a stud. Dan Ige gets Damon Jackson. Like, we all saw that coming. I'm like, man, Ige's takedown defense still poor. Bryce Mitchell, when he gets it on the mat, grappling's all that. But he had to pull out of his fight for the injury a couple months ago. And Cody's still saying that it's like purple and you can still see all of that there. He talks about how he trains like he's the best guy in his gym by a mile. Like, he doesn't train with like UFC fighters, like lower level stuff. His ex-girlfriend, I saw Bryce Mitchell was talking about the dude's killing his fruit plants or his crops and all that. Like, I love Bryce Mitchell. The dude's amazing. Like, I love the dude. I want to pick him. Like, that was my instinct the whole time, but he's so outclassed on the feet, night and day. His striking, the speed, like such a disadvantage on the feet. If he can't get it to the mat, or if he can get it to the mat, he has to control him. Ige, like Evil took him down 9 times, but that means Ige got up 8 times. If he gets up and keeps working in this one, I don't know, man. I guess I've talked for a minute and a half and I haven't said really anything for the people. I will say in terms of DFS, I don't love this fight as much. My plan is to be somewhere around the field on both, just because I don't have a strong lean at all, as you can hear me talking. And I think the Dogger Pass, I think it's Ige on the money line. But I think Bryce Mitchell for DFS is the better play, just because the wrestling, the takedowns, the control time, he just fits the DK scoring more. But I could also see Mitchell get round 1 for 4 minutes of control time, no takedowns in round 2, and then you're pretty much drawn dead going into round 3. So I just talked in all the circles, help the people out on this one because I'm kind of indifferent.
Yeah, I do like this fight. It's going to be similar to the battle fight where I'd be fine going a third each and leaving a third to fade. But I think that the line opened more correctly. On DraftKings, Mitchell opened at minus 135, and then it's just been money on him ever since. And he shot up 10% on the money line.
He opened minus 270 on Bet Online.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, DK open line September 9th, and Bet Online's always first. So they were, September 2nd or September 1st. So pretty crazy. Minus 135 on DK, minus 270. If you're out there and you can get openers and stuff offshore, there's definitely money in CLV to be made in MMA.
Yeah, I would have loved betting that Ige number. But yeah, I just think that the value's on Ige here. I give him the striking edge. I think he could go out there and get takedowns if he wants and be safe in top control too. I think he's much more dangerous on the feet. And then with Mitchell, if he wins, it's going to come through the ground, and he is a dominant grappler. His last 2 wins, both decisions, 124 points and 113. I love targeting fighters who can score that much in decisions. So I will get Mitchell exposure, but I'm picking Ige here. I think he can stuff some takedowns and really hurt him on the feet. And I like Ige because I'm picking him to win by a TKO. But if he's losing half of this fight by being on his back, he's not going to score well. So I do think there's a lot of reasons that we can get away from this fight, mainly being the ownership. I think both sides are going to get a lot of ownership. It's an exciting fight to watch. Who knows how it's going to play out, but I think the line should be a lot closer than it is. So give me Ige. He's in play for the 100-point upside with the knockout. But if he wins the decision, I would expect closer to 10x, and I'm fine with that. But I prefer guys like Means and Collier, who I think have better chances at finishing wherever the fight goes. I think they could finish on the ground or the feet, whereas Ige probably wants this one standing because Mitchell should be the better grappler.
Yeah, we're definitely lockstep. But betting, I'm on Ige DFS-wise. I prefer Mitchell just because the top control and all that, but I'm going to have some Ige. I'm picking him by 3rd round knockout because I think Mitchell might have a little success earlier. Some Ige's so tough to put away. He makes Mitchell work. He can get up and all that. But if Mitch, like we keep saying, if Mitchell gets 1 and controls it a lot, Ige goes into round 2 scoring 6 DK points. Even a 2nd round knockout could get you 83. And I mean, you tell me Ige gets 83, I'm playing a bunch of Dan Ige for sure. Still not a lock by any means on a card like this to be on the optimal, though. And then you go to the 3rd round, he gets a KO, 65. I mean, there's so many different ways this fight can go. striker, grappler. Like, I'd be surprised to see Ige take it to the mat. Could he maybe be safe on top? Yeah, I think he could. I mean, Dan Ige's been around, done that. I don't, why do that when you have a striking advantage? Like, Bryce has improved his striking, but there's levels like we talk about. So I just know it's not a fight I'm going to let ruin my night. I'll be somewhere around on both of them. That's how I approach some fights that I'm indifferent about, because nothing worse than a fight you don't really have a lean on and it just buries you. So that's my approach there. And Robert Pena in chat congratulating Marley on the dub. Back-to-back time for Marley this week. Main event time, Big Marley. Man, what a fight this is. Rafael Fiziev, Mateus Gamrot, 8,500 Fiziev, 7,700 for Gamrot. This fight, minus 155 Fiziev, plus 135 for Gamrot. Minus 110 this fight to finish. Fiziev plus 155, Gamrot plus 425. Clear as day, striker versus grappler. Fiziev, one of the best strikers out there. Gamrot, one of the best wrestlers out there. 5 rounds definitely favors Gamrot if he can get it to the championship rounds. We've seen Fiziev slow down in third rounds, lose to Bobby Green, slow down multiple fights prior in the third round. But man, in the round 1 and 2, when this dude is fresh, everything he throws is hard, is nasty. His takedown defense holds up when he's fresh. It's going to be tough for Gamrot early. I'm picking Gamrot. I'm picking the dog. However, I'm not betting him pre-flop, man. Give me a plus 200. Give me a plus 250 after round 1 or 2 when Fiziev starts to slow down or something. Like, I think it's Fiziev early. I do. I like Gamrot. I love Gamrot. I love his strike. His striking's good. What he did against Arman Tsarukyan, what a fight that was. I was on Tsarukyan. I think Tsarukyan's a complete stud. His wrestling really impressed me in that one. Fiziev, I just don't know. What's he going to do in round 3? What's he going to do in round 4? What's he going to do in round 5? I think we could see Gamrot shoot for 30 takedowns in this fight, man. I think he has the cardio to shoot for 30 takedowns. Does Fiziev have the gas tank and all that to stuff 30 takedowns for 25 minutes? I'm not sure. Give me Gamrot. Give me the wrestling, the dog money, the 800 savings. Confidence, not very high. However, like I said, I prefer the live betting. Instead of jumping in right now at plus 130, feel confident that Fiziev wins round 1 at a pretty good pace, at 80-20, something like that. I think Fiziev starts out strong and I can get a better number. But I'm not going to make a rule to have 100% of this fight, because I think we could see like we just talked Mitchell Ige. What if Gamrot has success early, controls him for maybe rounds 1 and 2, and I'm wrong there, and Fiziev knocks him out or something like that? What if Fiziev just knocks him out in the 3rd round or 2nd round and scores like 89? You take 89 at 8,500, but when this fight total ownership is 90% or something like that together, like, give me if you tell me the winner score, or if you tell me Fiziev, I should say, scores 89 right now in a win, I probably have 0 of this fight and I have all the leverage in the world. Gamrot, if he scores 89, that's a different question, and that's part of the reason I prefer him in DFS as well. I would take 89 for Gamrot, but yeah, give me Gamrot. Prefer the live betting. I'll side with the wrestler. Great fight, though, man.
Yeah, I will be certain to not have 100% of this fight, actually. I actually might have more lineups without this fight than with it, to be honest with you.
Love it.
I do think Gamrot is the one with the higher ceiling. Fiziev needs a first-round knockout to have 100-plus potential in this fight, where Gamrot could win a decision and score 120 points. And I think Gamrot could lose the fight and outscore Miles Johns. He's really the guy I was talking about who I think he could lose and outscore Miles Johns in a win. And that would come with like 6 to 8 takedowns, but only 2 to 4 minutes of control time. And Fiziev just getting back to his feet and picking them apart on the feet. I think Fiziev has a big striking edge here. Gamrot's been knocked down 4 times in the UFC. I thought Gamrot lost his last 3 fights. He did get credited a loss in the Dariush fight. I thought he lost against Arman. I also thought he lost against Jalen Turner. And Fiziev is the most technical striker of all those guys. So I just see Fiziev being tough to take down. I do think he'll go down a few times, and during those moments, he's not going to be scoring while he's trying to get back to his feet or while he's stuffing takedowns. So I think he knocks him out in the 2nd or the 3rd round and just doesn't score 90-plus points. Let's say Fiziev won his last fight. Let's give him 30 more points on his DraftKings score. That gives him 7 UFC wins. In those 7 UFC wins, he only averages 78 per win. I think this is going to be somewhere around that, 78 to 88 points. And with all the ownership that's going to come with this fight, I'm just looking to get away from it. Give me Fiziev to get a late TKO and just not quite getting there. But if he wins a decision, he might not even score 10x, but he probably scores around 10x. Whereas if Gamrot wins at all, he's gonna be on the optimal lineup most likely. And I'm kind of building lineups this week, with thinking that there's going to be 4 underdogs in the final optimal lineup. So I'm just going to be mixing in all these underdogs that I like a lot. And since I have the price to pay, that's going to get me on Fiziev and Mitchell and Battle. But Malkoun's going to be my pay up that I'm just going to be able to get to as much as I want, I think, just because I like so many underdogs. So that's how I'm attacking this slate. So if I end up winning, you guys can be there with me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Gamrot's been knocked down his last 3 fights. Fiziev has all the power. He can get there in a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth. He can. There's multiple knockdowns on the table. He has a bunch of power. By no means am I fading Fiziev. I just, like you said, there's plenty of paths where Fiziev wins and isn't on the optimal. Very hard for me to see Gamrot win and not be on the optimal. And I just like him, man. It's very not often you get the wrestler at dog money, and it's clear as day, Striker Grant. Very, very rarely it feels you get it. Such a great fight, though. 2 of the best lightweights out there in the world. Such a fun card. 11 fights, unfortunately. Wish it was 12, but it's a great DFS card. Expected dogs to come through. We're at the Apex. Big Marley, final thoughts to the people.
No, I think it's going to be a tough card. I think the winning lineup probably has $1,000 left on the table or more. So I think I'm going to have a lot of lineups with 4 underdogs in there, maybe even some with 5. We'll see what happens, but I'll be contrarian this week. So hopefully that can help me ship it solo instead of tying with 10 people like last week. But good luck to you, brother. Good luck to everybody listening as well.
Absolutely. Big Marley looking to go back to back. And if it's not Big Marley, it's not myself. I hope it's someone in chat, watching live, watching on playback. Appreciate all the support as always. Like button, subscribe button on the way out. Helps us out a ton. If you want our MMA content, MLB content, NFL content, Hoop absolutely dominated Showdown, as well as a lot of members last night. We have a 5-day pass, $19 only. Get all of our content except Discord. Takes you to NFL, MMA. You get Showdown on Monday. You get MLB. Great time to use that if you want to check us out. Otherwise, we have a monthly, $69 a month that comes out to 6-month package, comes up to $59 a month, and the annual package, $49 a month. We'll be back. Oh, we will not be back next week. UFC goes on a little break, so we'll be back when the UFC resumes. I think it's either 3 weeks or a month.
We only got 1 week off, actually.
Only 1 week? I thought it was okay. Only 1 week off. So thank you, Marley, for correcting me. Last card until a 2-week break, BCM says, but I trust Marley. So week off, and then the week after, whenever the fights are, you'll see us here. Same time as always on Friday. Hoop and I talking NFL in 30 minutes for cash. Check that out. Appreciate everyone as always. For Big Marley, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.